Okay, so this is for the carrier foundry project that I made it using the CF guideline. So for the first time, okay, let's just go here and we'll start by looking for the instruction assignment. Okay, here it is. If I go to the summary, then I open it. Okay, so we have to develop a website by incorporating concept and technique learned and use web language technologies as promulgated by the W3C school. The group 2, which is me and Abdul Hadi, my partner, we complete the step using the guide from the link careerfoundry.com. So we'll go to the link, and here it is shown the web development for the beginners. So the first time I go to this tutorial 1, which is the introduction to web development. Okay, so there are total 5 tutorials to go through. So we'll start first by tutorial 1. So we're going to intro about the role of web developer and discuss the different types of web developer, the skills required to become a web developer, and preview what can be learned over the next 5 days, which is what I'm doing, and create first web page using text editor and browser. For the browser engine, I use Google Chrome. So we go to the text and all the explanation. Okay, now we set up to our browsers and our code editor. So for me, I don't use Sublime Text. I use the VS Code Studio. So in here, oh no, thank you. Okay, well we'll just go to the step 4, creating the first web page. So the first web page we use HTML. The HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. The hypertext means that text that can jump from one point to other. You ever click on a link page like google.com, you have used the hypertext markup way of structure content so that we can distinguish between difference between the blocks of text. Language is language. The computer language, yeah. It's not like the English, the Malay, the Chinese. No, it is mean the coding language. Okay, first, we open our VS Code editor. Open folder. We create a folder and select a file under it. Then we will do our first HTML by we write this. The example is doc type HTML. With the doc type is all capital letter with summoning symbol. The text HTML, text head, text title and title, and then text end head. Then we go to the text body. This is h1, means heading 1. Heading show that either the words, if it is h1, it will be a big and a bit bold word. So if you use h2, it will become smaller until h6. Then we'll close it by end body and close it again with end HTML. So then we can start off by writing our first official own web page. So for this This tutorial they said first web page and hello world, so I follow exactly what they do. So you may want to view the code changes on GitHub, but for me I don't use the GitHub because I think that this is just good enough on its own. Okay, so after we type this, we save it to the file and then we can open it in the Chrome. So the output will become like this. So let's say like I have done all this, then I save it. All I have to do next is I open it using my selected browser, which is Google Chrome, and you can see the output. So basically this is the already what can I say, a finished simple website I use, but you get the idea. It's like the HTML that you type can be published in the browser engines that you choose. Okay, so back to the session. After that, you can use the other text like the H3. So like I said, the strong text and the P. The strong text acts same as the bold. The bold action whenever you use the Microsoft Word or Microsoft Excel, you use strong. It's like you use the bold to make the words that you enter become thick in the lining of the color, so that the first will be even thicker and bolder. This is the thinner one. When the bold, it will be a bit lumpy. So this is if you using the this is H2. This is the strong word that I just said, and this is the P. The P tag is for paragraph, which is we can write any text, any word that is the text or content of certain website. Then I go to start tutorial 2. In tutorial 2, we learn about the HTML and basic HTML syntax, and we learn about the various HTML elements that will be used in the course and create a basic structure of our own web page. So for HTML, we learn about the element text. For this one, we use the previous one. We use the heading 1 element text. The text like h1 or ending h1 surrounded by angle brackets. You see like the arrow, the left arrow and the right arrow. That is the text. The text define element and tell the browser how to display them. For example, they can tell browser whether an element is image or a paragraph to the text. Most of the elements have opening and closing tag. Show where the element begins and ends. Most, not all, because there are some exceptions, and that we will get through after this. The closing tag is just opening with / before the element name or the ending text. We can generalize format HTML as follow, like text element underscore name content, and then closing text / element underscore name. That's the example. If you want to be safe and guaranteed for sure, you just follow the tutorial that is displayed here. It'll be easier for you. And the element attributes. Element attribute is to modify or specify the functionality and behavior of the chosen element. It is written inside the opening text, like image, the image text. We add the width attribute and the value of the attribute, and then we can add one or more height attribute along with the value of the height attribute. We can add image element with a width attribute at the value of 300 and height attribute a value of 200. Like you might guess, to make things 300 pixels and 300 pixels tall. Let's look at another example. Text area, attribute row, value 5, attribute columns, value 20, and then closing text area. Rows and calls are attributes define the number of rows and the number of columns in the text area should span respectively. Width and height for IMG. Rows and calls for text area are useful directly within HTML, but some attributes have special meaning, that they don't do anything on their own but require us to write additional CSS or JavaScript and connect the three pillars together. We'll be learning about them later. Some elements don't have any content in them, and that's why they have to have closing tags. Image example only need the source or src attribute or the location to find the image. Example, img attribute source src and the value. The value is like the URL, the ref, hypertext reference. Instead of using slash closing img, it just ended in one text, because the image element has its own source attribute that fetches image to be displayed. No content that needs to go inside. Other elements similar to img that not require closing text. You can maybe for those who don't know, you can Google yourself. The nesting element. HTML element can be nested inside each other, and the word one element can hold other elements. So in paragraph we can put strong. Strong makes the words bolder and thicker. That's the simple example. To be easy read, we will doing vertically to show the order or the hierarchical of it, like P on the upper, and then closing P at the below. In the middle of it, I'm working as a. Then we put the attribute after a normal text under it, and then we step to another row, add, and just like before, another attribute we will put it down. Okay, the HTML element, the heading. There are 6 types of heading that I say. Start from heading 1 to heading 6. The heading 1 is will make the heading, the text heading, bigger. We go downward the number to 6, it will become smaller and smaller. The anchoring. The anchoring is like the A text. Remember the hypertext in it can link another on the page by using the attribute hypertext ref #ref. And then but unlike image, this text we use to describe something, but with the help of the value attribute, so we have to put the ending A text. Because the reason is we want to make the word here as a doorway to another element, so it in the text, for the text content, it must have the link. It's like you eating a burger. That burger must have the not just the bread, it also must have the meat and the sauce, the vegetables, and the pickles. So you bite through, you only, if you don't put the attribute or the filling the patties, the sauce, and the vegetable. You only bite through the burger bun itself. No content. You can go through. You cannot feel or you cannot experience what what actually it want to show you. The burger want to show you is delicious, and so does the words that we want to link in. Uh, it it acts to show you something that you need to know or something that you can check out. Okay, for paragraph, like I said, the paragraph text we write it as P. No need to write it full, just P. P stands for paragraph. It is used for text block. We start paragraph that they have a nice space between one another and between first paragraph and its header. We have the P opening and P ending. Between this is the text. For list, we have two types: ordered list and unordered list. For unordered list, we'll only use the UL text. For the ordered list, we will use the OL text, stand for ordered list. And inside the list, after you make the open list and closing list, we must have the li text, which stands for list. uh, this one line of list element stands for one row. After that, we go to downward. This is the second row. You see the example: unordered item 1, row 1, unordered item 2 in row 2. The same thing goes for the ordered list. Division and spans. Everything on webpage can be imagined to be contained in a series of boxes. We have to arrange the boxes so that our page looks nice on screen. The boxes contain text, image, and everything that we saw on the page. The boxes are named division and spans. Division, they're using the div text, div tag, and for spans they use span tag. Div and span don't do anything on their own, but we add the things to them, like text and image. They let us position text and image as we like. Good analogy for them are bags. Bags like handbags or backpack are not very useful if they are empty inside, but they are useful when we keep things and we bring it around. The benefit of bag is it helps us to bring our things easily. Same thing goes to the div and spans. Same analogy, same concept. Forms, we fill in forms in time to here, like when you want to form of whether you buying things online, or form you want to compete in a competition. If there's online form, then you have to fill it. That is a form, but we will see the example in the next time. And then we create the basic page layout. So that is the example proposal. They will put the intro, about, portfolio, links, and contacts. So to start it with, we'll put the introduction, about, portfolio, and links. In introduction, like the Scary Foundry web suggests, we'll put the profile picture, name, professional titles, quote. But as for me, I as a weep and otaku, I rather make a intro about one of the anime characters that I like, which is Kamado Nezuko from the Demon Slayer. So this is the styling. Okay, in the bottom. This is for the intro. I put the Kamado Nezuko, Demi-Daminous, nice and friendly. Whereas this suggestion but to write the introduction, we use the division. We use the back so that we can put things in it. We can display. So uh, as for I put div and class it as container. uh, this is a long one because it's not only involve the intro until div and ending div. Then this other div is to contain all the four elements in it. The third div is for each of the category. Like for the intro, this is a div. I use the div class intro, and then ending div class. Image source, I use this. I just copy it and save it, and then underneath it, I choose the heading 1 text and write the name. uh, I choose the heading 3 to show the difference of the size of the text that will be displayed. Then downers, and then this I use the paragraph type to show the official and common text type, nice and friendly. Then I close div. Oh yes, actually this division has to be used with this division. Means that like the back, we have the subspace. The subspace have the zip, and inside the zip there is a there inside the zip there are two spaces contained. So it's like the class in the div is the first zip, and this is the first zip container. The second zip is div, and inside the div there we will have the the space for intro. Then we close div and start another div to contain another subzip, and this is the first space class about grid, and then this is the second space this class she is. I use the simple heading 3 text she is, and then I like they say, inside the text we can put text. So inside the heading text I put the unordered list. I use the unordered type, and I listed demon, killing sister, demon hunter, closing unordered list, closing the closing second space, closing first space, closing subject. The third subject is for the, like this one, we do the introduction thingy, uh, but I change it, intro, about, portfolio, in this thing. I think that we are still in the first category. Sure. But about this, the first thing about this. Oh no, we really already have the second category, and this is the second category. Then the third subject. The third subject is like this page suggests the portfolio, and the portfolio contains the image, or especially we do our resume, or like our uh, working expert here. But this one I just use the image source to show the types of Kamado Nezuko's power. So I just copy the link from the Google Chrome browsers. Then I close the subspace, I close the subzip. Then I go to the fourth. I go to the fourth subject, but then I use the division class links and contacts. It will determine the certain and specified division class at one, and underneath it I use another class, division class links. Then I put the heading links, then I put the unordered list inside, and this I just give the link. I use the a text and hyper with the attributes of hypertext reference, all the three of it. And then I close the list, I close the unordered list, I close the second space, I close the first space, I close the subject. Then for another dip, this is for the footer part. Footer part after links, it is under the fourth category, links and contact form. As for links and contact form, I use a form, open tag form, ending tag form, and then I use label attribute for value email, and then I use email and I use the input tag. Input tag is like the image. If using the IMG SRC, it doesn't need a closing text. It is already opening and closing on itself. So I use the input tag. The attribute is type and the value is email. Second attribute ID, value email also. Third attribute placeholder, value enter your email. Then I use the smaller heading size, which is #4. I write email. And then I put another input tag. I put the input tag, the attribute type, value email, ID also email, placeholder, enter your email value. Then I closing label because this is the label we want to do for email. And then label for message. Label for message. Then we put message. For the message we don't use input tag because message is something written, it's like a text, so we will use the text area. And for the text area, it has a open text and closing text. Text area, ID, value message, your message, and then ending text area. And then I use the h4 also to display the message text in smaller size. Then I use text area tag with the attribute ID and value message. I read it your message, and I closing it with the ending text area. Then I close the label. Then I use another input tag. I use the type attribute, value submit. Third attribute is value. The value is send message. Third attribute is ID. The value is submit dash button. Then underneath it I put the div class submit button wrapper. Okay, save it. Div class submit button wrapper. Underneath, inside the division text, the content is I use input tag, the ID type submit, value send message, ID submit button, closing div, closing the form of all this from this form action hashtag, and then I close this subzip div, and I close the main zip div. Main zip the first division text, and then I use the script, script text, script src source javascript, because I save the styling in the JavaScript. Then I close JavaScript. We'll just leave this blank because we don't want to display anything, we just want to make it go through this link. Then I close body, I close HTML. That is for the raw skeleton structure. So like the example, in this Carry Foundry, we will see John Doe, which design at Carry Foundry, part of Ponder, and then we adjust. We put the image inside this. That's why we use the under the division class. We will use the image source, so we can put this thing. We can edit it after we simply succeed putting an image to it. If you're able to use the unloaded list, the output will be like this. The portfolio is the this is the portfolio where I place with her abilities. There's a command abilities. I using the image link address copied from the Google source. And this is the links and footer that we will put so that they can go to the GitHub link as the gateway and the Twitter gateway. It will be a blue color text with underline it, so it will show that it is the gateway to the link. And we place the section after closing the div tag for the portfolio section. And for contact form, like it's shown this, it will use form action hashtag, meaning there's nothing specified so much. The label for email type, just like I do in my coding, because I follow exactly like what he did. After that we finish, we'll go to the tutorial 3. 3 for 5 is basically like you want to touch up your coding structure. So we learned about the CSS. CSS is like the styling, is the styling guideline for the HTML. It will use the different type of CSS selector, apply the CSS grid, learn about the mobile responsive and media queries. But in our case, I think the number 4 we don't need yet lah, because mostly we view our output work in the desktop or PC. So no need for this is for the mobile phone platform. And we learn to position elements on the page to turn the daily change. In that we can change our website daily according to what we want to change. CSS if HTML word for the basic structure, the CSS work as the styling or decoration of the structure. Like we can make an analogy. HTML is like a present box, where the CSS is the decoration, the paintings, the wrappings, the thing that will beautify the HTML structure. To make sure that the CSS can work compatible with HTML, we will put the link text, link, attribute, relevance, value, style sheets, hypertext reference is the link, the link code. You must put this link under the head text section, meaning that between the head text content we put this. If we apply in the body, it will not work well. So for this, we want to write the styling or the decoration for our HTML element. We will use the ending brackets. Like when we learn math about the Venn diagram, we use this, and between it we write the style, the thing, the color, the background image, the position, text align. they like this example, the P meaning the paragraph text, they use the font style italic. So you can see the writing, the alphabet turns to the italic writing, italic style. That's the easy example to understand. So like I say, inside the HTML element, it can be put the attribute, and for the attribute, the values of the attribute that we have written, it can have its own styling CSS too. But for the value, you have to put the dots, and then what is the value that you write, and then you write the style that you want. Because for class code, the identification, the CSS want to identify this code, this code block. It's like the code bar scanner. It must scan the code number to access the data. So to access the code, they must put the dots. The dot is as the barcode for the CSS scanner. That is for the analogy term to understand. Sorry. Oh, my head hurts. And then we'll go to the CSS selector, the element selector. One or more particular element. Example, an element selector would be a P bracket. As we saw, style all the paragraph of the P text type on page. Let's say if any text within the paragraph text, no matter how many, if we put the styling, the selector in it, the bracket, we put the styling, like example, they put the color for the paragraph text must be red, so it will be shown in red colors, like for the example. That's for element selector. For class selector, it targets all elements have particular class name. As a refresher, we can add a class name to an element using class attribute. The class attribute, so to put the class name, we use the class attribute. So the class attribute, we can say it's like the class selector agent, because it's selector for the class type. So we put the value, question text, answer text, and then we will end the text. So in just like the previous element selector. Oh no, it's different from element selector, but we can say it is same as this. It is same as this P class code. We can say that the value can be styled within the CSS although we want. Like I said, we must put the dot, because for the class, the identification must be dot. For the ID, it must be the hashtag, I think. Then we can set the styling, the decorations that we want. It's like the touch up, the adjustment. For the ID selector, because the previous one we use class selector, but this is ID selector. ID selector is also an attribute and have the value. We can style the value, not the attribute. And because we use ID, the identification for CSS to scan the ID value is to put the hashtag. The hashtag is specified for the ID attribute. So we put hashtag help text, and uh, we can just put just make the style that we want. This is the CSS grid. It's just like a table. And the difference is table is for HTML. For CSS we call it grid. We use to structure parts of the web page in a grid so that it can be organized and control the layout of the page. Exactly what is it in real life. A space divided by horizontal and vertical line into rows, columns, and cells. Or simplify a table, if you like to think about it that way. You can define how our grid is structured in terms of percentage, pixels, or any other measurement. Each of them we put into our grid, we define what cell the element should go in, roughly speaking. To make this, first we don't write the HTML first, but we will write the styling first. We will use the command .grid table. Then we put the style display grid template row auto 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 space auto grid template columns auto. We put for the rows, this is rows. For the rows, the auto one will be the first row auto. This is the second row, it is also auto. It has only two auto, but the column like this, vertically downward or upward, it has three: one auto, two auto, and three auto. That is for the CSI. And then we write the HTML structure. We use the non-semantic type, which is division, this the back, the division back. And then we put attribute class, the value same as the one we put on CSS styling grid table. Then we use the div. It's like div back inside back. Div 1, div 2, div 3, div 4, div 5, div 6, and then closing the main div. Display. The grid tells the browser that this is the grid container, while the grid template rows and grid template column do exactly as the name suggests, set numbers and dimension of each row and column into the grid respectively. We define a grid with 2 auto width row and 3 auto width columns. Auto width is an automatically set width, and which means our grid is flexible and can end up looking very asymmetric depending on what content we put inside. Meaning that for symmetric, it must be the same on all sides, on we say that, or angles or shape. But for asymmetric, it can be whatever size it wants. Just like this. The first row is small, but the second row is bigger. But aside from auto, we can also use the percentage for pixels. But if you don't want to put pixels, you can put the percentage value, like 50% space 50%, or pixels 200px 200px, or every other units that you know, that I don't know, that you at your disposal. And the grids are very versatile. You can draw it on paper with a ruler, make a grid out of it. So why do we need a grid? It has to do with how our content will be viewed on different screen size. Brings us to the next topic, designing for mobile responsiveness. But I think we can skip this part because this is unnecessary. Most of us view our work on the desktop. We mainly use mobile for entertainment. Advanced web page styling with CSS tutorial 4. So we're going to add image onto the image folder, replace the project placeholder with image with our own, set custom fonts on the page, add more styling on the footer, help it look nice. Then change page background color, change font colors on page. So to put it simply, if you want to have to have a easy put image, you save the image in the VS Code editor. But first you must if you want to make it more easier, you will make a folder of image about it, and then you can put a link to the HTML web page that you're going to do. Like this, use the profile picture, border radius 50%, width 150 packs, height 150 packs, box shadow 0 for packs, 6 packs 0 RGBA. RGBA stand for the color that will be used to show the full color result. It's like the red, yellow, and blue color. We mix it, we got another color, and then we use it. And for this type A is for alpha, means that it is the color is more advanced from the normal RGB. Transition all is in out dot 2s. Profile picture hover box shadow 0 8 packs 12 packs 0 RGBA 346080.16. We can see in the start. Yeah, in this external preview Reddit. I use the border radius 50% with 200% packs. Sorry, the height is 200 packs, and box shadow is 0 4 pixels, 6 pixel, 0 RGBA, 34 60 80.16. For the external preview Reddit, I use the box shadow 0 8 pixels, 12 pixels, 0 RGBA, same 3460 80.16. And for the body, I use the font family Noto sans serif type. The heading that I want to decorate, I use the font family Roboto Mono type monospace. The form input and the text area, I'll simultaneously simplify to styling for padding 5 pixels, border radius 5 pixels, and the width 240 pixels. As for the form itself, style it with width 250 pixels. The margin is 0 auto because it will be automatically set. And for the form input, the input of the form, the extra markup that I use is the box bracket type value submit, and the width is 250 pixels. Submit button wrapper, margin 20 pixels and 0 pixels. For the middle body, we use the background color peach red, and the color is light blue sky. For the container, down mark to the div class, the margin that I will use is margin 20 pixels auto. For the HR, I'll use the border 0, height 1 px, background image linear gradient to right, RGBA 000 means black, nothing, RGB 0.75, RGB 0000. As for the project link grid, for the first heading 3, I use the color purple so that the word will be displayed in a purple color. For the container class, I use the max width at 840 pixels, but the margin is auto because it's more easy. The intro, I use the text align center, and about grid, I use the display grid grid template columns 50% space and 50%. And this for the links of the class in the attribute, she is and she likes. I use the text align center, but the text decoration is none, so that it will be just plain. The project's heading value, I use the text align center. The project grade, display grid, the grid template columns 50%, 50%. It's same as about grid. Project image, I use for the image we want to project. We use the styling justify self center with 4% padding. We don't want it to be much, so we just it is safe to say that use from scale 1 to 10%. Till the safe one. Links and contact, I just display grid template columns, but I use 30%, 70% rather than 50%, 50%, because it is for the links and contacts. It must not be as big as the project grids and the about grid. For the link, I use justify self center. Link list style none, because I want it to be just a normal list, and the padding is 0, meaning it does not have the space between the blocks of the text, between the text block. And this is for, because basically the second tutorial they did not put the image of the person of the genre, so they, for the fourth tutorial, they will put the image of the genre, so that we can know the identity of the person uh, that we are writing about in the website. And this is for the creativity part. We add the adding effects to the image, but I don't do much, because I just like the plain and simple image, just uh the pretty pointed corner image. But then we can go to the setting custom fonts. To do the custom font, I follow the California to use the Roboto Mono display. It is helpful and I like it. Yes, I use the font family starting first. The type is Noto Sans, class sans serif. For this one, font family, Roboto Mono, type Roboto Mono, also class mono space. And for the footer pixels, yeah, this is where we put the email, the social media, and the contacts. We can fix it adjusting it. For input, basically you go to the code changes on the GitHub. So, but I don't change it much, because I like it just the way it is. And changing the page's background color, we use it for the body. For the body body main value, use the background color and then the type of color. Don't use the, but to make it more way cooler in future, we use background image rather than background color and background. Changing the font color, to change the font you don't need to put background, you just have to put the color and what color do you want as the value in the body main value. Then next we will go to tutorial 5, intro to JavaScript. We're going to use JavaScript basics, variable functions and operators. Select HTML element with JavaScript, attach a click listener to HTML form element, fetch some user entered value, ready form with JavaScript. For this one I use the link script source attribute source value script.javascript.js. Then we can, it's like the CSS, except the JavaScript is a bit different in styling and displaying the website that we make, because it will show the comment of what we do for the website. For the operators, there are 6 types. We we have to use it like the 3 blocks for it to fully function, because if it's 2 blocks, then it is not a JavaScript. For the equal, the question is, are the 2 things equal? But for the summoning equal, are the 2 things unequal? And this one is the 2. The smaller equal the first thing greater than or equal to the second, and then the left arrow equal is the first thing less or equal to the second. For the right arrow only, it is the first thing greater than the second. For the left arrow, it shows that it's the thing less than the second. I think we don't get to this much because I didn't fully apply the JavaScript in my website HTML, so I think we can just skip through it. Okay, I think that's all, and for the final quiz we can do it later, because all we want to do is to show the results of our coding and styling of this. So we finish for it, and then we can look for the result. Open it with the browser that we want. As for me, I use the Google Chrome, and then it displays this. Now, this Kamado Nezuko. If any of you don't know who she is the character from the anime series called The Demon Slayer, or Kimetsu no Yaiba. This is the sister of the Demon Slayer, Kamado Tanjiro. She is a demon, but she's a kind one, and she didn't kill people. She's a demoness, nice and friendly. She is a demon, a cute little sister, and a demon hunter. What she likes to help her brother, protect people, and befriend anybody. Actually, I put the 4 pictures of it, but because of the pixels used for in each of the image is too big, and I can't simply edit it yet, so it only displays. This is a fully demon transformation, where she gained full power when she are driven into the distress that force her to go all out. And for the links, you can go to the GitHub, the Twitter, and LinkedIn. So for any inquiries, suggestions, or comments, also, mostly recommendation, we can just enter the email. It will specify only the email as the coding suggests, as the coding structured what you want, structured the way you want. Enter email, enter message. What is the message? You have anything to say, or comments, or critics? Then you just put the submit button and message. Send. That's the simple website that I created just for now. So I think that is all. So any mistakes or errors, I humbly truly sorry, and I hope to receive a better guideline the next time we will meet again. So thank you, and bye.